after seeing a successful splashdown, what do you say we celebrate with a little bit of Grandpa Buff? It's HLC time. It's Grandpa Buff time. Let's fucking go.
Over here, over there, I will bomb the sandy trail and the turbines go flying along.
Wait, that's the U.S. Army theme song.
Well, technically it was field artillery first because it was caissons before it was the Army, but they took it, and I mean, we used to be part of the Army a bunch of years ago, but then we split off on our own.
That's true.
We actually have something that they don't. It's called morale.
Yeah, I heard about that. Weirdos and communists have that. How do you not have morale?
Wait, what? Hang on.
It's called morale.
Yeah, I heard about that. Weirdos and communists have that. How do you not have morale?
What?
Well, I mean, we try sometimes. We have, like, mandatory fun days where you don't actually get to do anything fun. Or we go on unit fun runs, which is like 6 miles of just bouncing up and down while screaming a cadence at the top of your lungs that you've heard 15 times over. And then there's also the dudes who go super hard during the Turkey Bowl because they almost went pro but ended up in the military instead.
The H in U.S. Army stands for happiness.
There's no H in U.S.
Say
Army.
it. I knew it.
Shut the fuck up. He can't spell.
You got me good. Thought I wouldn't catch it. Yeah, no, there's no H in U.S. Army. I just had to, I was looking at it. Okay, then, whatever. Buff, get over there, keep hitting targets. Iran, are you going to chill out yet? Chill out? Have you forgotten that you attacked me?
Potato, J-damn, it doesn't really matter to me. Anyways, bite the pillow, I'm going in dry. Time on target, 5 minutes.
Could you do it without the sexual innuendos?
No.
I mean, I could, but it would be a lot less fun. Hey, you guys want to see if I can kickflip a Hilux?
Yeah. Kickflip a Hilux with a 500-pound bob. Go for it, Buff. I want to see this. Get it on video or it didn't fucking happen, my guy.
Focus on the targets that you were given. Iran, seriously, man. We will not, nor will we ever, negotiate with the likes of you.
2 minutes out. Put your hands over your head. Stay low to the ground. You better duck and cover. The bombs are coming down. If Iran fails to talk to us about ending this war and negotiate properly, we will probably be ending an entire civilization tonight.
I might get...
Yeah, he actually said that. He actually did say that on Truth Social. He talked about literally ending an entire civilization. That is real. Ouch.
Some flack for this, but I adamantly disagree with that statement. I think it's important to note that.
I'm with HLC on this one. When I saw he made that statement on Truth Social about talking about ending an entire situation, an entire civilization, I'm like, what the fuck? This is where, yeah, exactly. Civilians are not government. This is one of those times where I don't like what he does in office. I don't. When when you're basically making when you're making a threat, you want to threaten with military might, that's fine, but I'm sorry, you're not a good guy if you're literally threatening genocide. I'm sorry, no matter how you try and spin it, oh, he was bluffing them, he was scaring them, it worked, didn't it? I'm sorry, you're still not a good guy when you literally threaten genocide. None of it's pretty or moral, but this is the president of the United States, and it's not good for the president of the United States to literally be threatening genocide. I'm sorry, he could have chosen a myriad of words and phrases to use instead of that. She literally talked about taking out the entire civilization of Iran, which includes the Parisian civilians who we're supposed to be helping. Okay? Yeah, I know. He's not been good at worrying. It's one of the problems I have with him. Is when it comes to Trump, people are always like, well, I like him because he says what he's thinking. Yeah, sometimes what he's thinking isn't good. Okay, acting like you're a fucking mob boss when you're sitting behind when you're sitting in the Oval Office, those two don't work well together, especially when you're talking about a military action where there are tens, hundreds, millions of civilians involved. So yeah, I vehemently disagree with that statement. Now, do I think he was perhaps bluffing to try and, was it perhaps part of the basically shit talking to try and get Iran to come to the table? Probably it was. It's still not a good look. It's basically painting him as exactly what all of his critics are painting him as. No, but we didn't do it to Japan. We did not eliminate an entire civilization. Were there civilian casualties with Japan and Germany? Yes, there were. Again, that is war. But the U.S. did not threaten we're going to eliminate the entire civilization. In fact, the U.S. warned Japan, we're dropping these nukes. We're going to drop these nukes. You better not be there. They had advanced warning where they were coming. They didn't say, they didn't just give no warning and drop the nukes and say we're gonna fry you all. And basically, when you're looking at, because basically the targets is the Iranian regime and the IRGC. Those are the targets for the U.S. military. Again, there are tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands plus Parisian civilians in that country. And making a statement of, I'm going to wipe out your entire civilization, including all those tens or hundreds of thousands of Parisian civilians that you claim to be wanting to help in the first place. Sorry, that doesn't work. That is Persian. Oh, God, I keep doing that, don't I? Yes, Persian. Why the fuck do I keep saying Parisian? I guess it just rolls off the tongue better. Yes, Persian. Thank you, Leo. Sorry, not Parisian, not Parisian, Persian. My apologies to the Persian people for completely tripping over myself that way. Yes, Persian. Tens and hundreds of thousands of Persians. So, yeah, he could have used different verbiage that would have still been just as powerful. Like, he could have said, we will basically wipe your entire regime off the map. He could have gone that route, and it probably would have still been similarly effective, where it's like, if he said, either come to the table, or basically we're going to turn your regime and your entire military into basically ash. And you will have no more generations of Iranians and IRGC, and the Persians will take over for you. And it could have been just as effective instead of saying we're going to wipe out the entire civilization of Iran. That's all I'm saying, is that the phrasing is basically painting him as the very monster that people claim he is. Great. Again, do I think he was going to do it? No, I don't. But it's basically the optics of it. The optics of that weren't great.
But there is a staggering difference between the IRGC and your average Iranian civilian.
There
and
it is.
We lose a lot of moral high ground when we tell people that we're going to wipe out their entire civilization. For fuck's sake, are we any better than them?
Yeah. We've killed less of them in 4 weeks of bombing than they did in 2 weeks of protests. We're not mowing people down with machine guns. Anyways, 30 seconds out. Time to sing my favorite song. With bombs wide open.
Fine.
My God.
A 2-week ceasefire. We will have this ceasefire, and we will negotiate here further. I will open the strait with certain type of other things.
See, I told you he would fold.
Yeah, but did he? Didn't like less than 24 hours later, didn't Iran fire off a bunch of missiles, and didn't they start stopping? Yeah. I don't think it did. I thought I heard like a couple hours later, Iran sent missiles flying, and I believe they started like grabbing tankers in the Strait. People disagree. It was like Iran or Israel. I don't know. I remember seeing footage like a couple hours later. Can't remember how long it was after the ceasefire had happened, but that's when it was. I thought I saw like there were inbound missiles to Israel like less than a day after this supposed ceasefire hit. Israel hit Lebanon, which caused Iran to attack. Did they? Okay, is that what happened? Well, yeah, but it's like okay, so Israel hit Lebanon, so why is Iran attacking again? Just hours after they broke the fucking ceasefire. It's big shock. Iran didn't hold true to the ceasefire. It's yeah. I saw some of what he did, what he talked about that. Yeah, it's I know. I don't know. Lebanon was not involved in the ceasefire, but Iran decided to send more missiles into Israel. I'm not sure if any of them got through the Iron Dome. But yeah, and plus there's been reports that, and I don't know if they're confirmed, that Iran was basically stopping and boarding tanker ships in the Strait of Hormuz. After the ceasefire was called, they were out stopping ships in the Strait. So it's a fucking joke.
I have the art of the deal. Somebody get Marco Rubio a turban.
Thank you. Buff, turn around.
Radio, break it up.
Oh, there's
Jews, jamming.
Buff, I know you can hear me. Turn around and return to base. Time now.
Man, this is some horse shit. I'm gonna be constipated for a fucking
Poor
week
Buff.
now because of you. I was ready. I was happy. Man, I hadn't been this happy since Vietnam. Back when we had good weed, decent cocaine, and a whole lot of women that would love me long time. This is bullshit.
Oh, Buff,
First time.
bricked up Buff.
I can give you some breathing exercises.
All right. Now we can talk. This next part is kind of difficult to break down because both sides aren't saying the same thing, and some of them aren't saying anything at all. And it's really hard to wade through the fog of war and try and understand exactly what's going on. So this is the best I can do. Good luck. You've reached a ceasefire. Oh, good heavens, that's wonderful. Now we can let diplomacy take over. Yeah, so anyways.
Shut up, beans on falafel. Number one, you don't have a navy worth a damn. The Iranian navy that is now currently sitting at the bottom of the strait was bigger than yours. You refused to help in the first place. You didn't let anybody dock at your ports because you don't have any fucking ports to dock at. Shut the hell up. Let the big boys do their thing. You just sit there and get taken over by the Islamic State.
Iran, we're opening the strait?
Yes. Sort of. We will be imposing a toll. And the ships must contact us directly, and we will give them a strict route to follow so that they are not attacked, damaged, or hit any sea mines.
Wait. Starmer tried to take credit? It was the Pakistani government that brokered the deal. How the fuck is Starmer going to try to take credit when it's very well known that it was Pakistan that basically facilitated the ceasefire in the first place? They're the ones that called for it. He was acting like it was because of course he is, because he's a piece of shit. Because Starmer is an Islamic Jihadist puppet that is all about turning his country into the next Iran. So of course he's going to try and take credit for it because he's got to try and find some kind of a win because he's a fucking pussy. He's a little pale pussy. So yeah, big surprise. He's trying to try and do that. He's trying to take credit for the ceasefire, and nobody believes him. Not even his own people.
Wait. What kind of toll? $2 million per ship that go through the strait. But it must be paid in Bitcoin. Great job, America. Now, your buffoon in charge has fucked up freedom of navigation for all corporations in Europe.
I'm sorry. Maybe if you would have pulled up when I asked you to, I would have gotten a deal that was better in your favor. Until then, pay the fucking toll, homie.
Now, about my uranium enrichment. Now, I think the nation of Iran...
Also, very interesting that they said pay them in Bitcoin. Because don't forget, the Iranian currency is at like 0. Still, I'm reasonably sure I haven't checked the exchange rate, but I'm pretty sure Bitcoin is volatile as fuck. Agreed. That's why I don't get into crypto. However, Bitcoin is a better alternative to Iran's currency. Because remember, Iran's currency, the real, is currently at like 0. That is the value of the real right now. It is like at zero globally. So Bitcoin is honestly a better shot for them than saying pay us 2 million in real, because it won't actually do anything for them. So legit, I'm kind of surprised that Iran hasn't tried to go to a nationwide Bitcoin currency already instead of their own. That honestly surprises me, but whatever.
Can have that and use it for peaceful... can't keep a straight face there. Purposes. No. But it is part of the 10-point plan that I published and showed to their world. This part is kind of hard to follow because they published a 10-point plan about a month ago. And it did have that in there, or it did not have the uranium enrichment in there. Uranium enrichment. Words are hard. But when they published it in Farsi, it did say that. So the English one did not, but the Farsi one did. And it's very hard.
Okay.
Hard, huh? I'm surprised you could see it from 30,000 feet. I guess I'm just showing off.
Yeah, you're never going to be able to enrich uranium. I'm not allowing that to happen. Like, that is a hard no. That is not changing.
Okay, I was not entirely part of this, but I'm good to still continue to attack Lebanon, right?
Yes, that's not part of the deal that we made. But also, tell Mossad not to false flag and fuck this up for us, because we're actually looking forward to this ceasefire.
What? Oh, I would never do that and fuck things up for my greatest ally. Tell them to stop. No, Lebanon was part of the deal. You stop shooting at Lebanon.
False. Lebanon and Israel have pretty much been at war in perpetuity since Israel became a thing in 1948.
Pretty much.
That's not part of this deal. And it's clearly stated in there that it is not part of the deal. But you know what is part of the deal is you said, and I agreed to it, that you would no longer sponsor terrorist cells in the Middle East.
Wait. Hold up. Does the people in charge in the U.S. really think that's going to happen? Please tell me that people in charge at the U.S., when they brokered this ceasefire, did not believe them when they said, oh no, we're definitely not going to keep funding terrorists in the Middle East. No, certainly not. Please tell me no one fucking believed that. Because we all fucking know that in a heartbeat, they're going to start funding terrorism again. They will never stick to that. They will never fucking stick to that whatsoever.
I think that's fair.
So I'm just supposed to have my allies in the region? And they're not going to get help? The freedom fighters against American imperialism and Israeli Zionism? You could also tell them to stop shooting and come out peacefully and turn themselves in. I will not, under any circumstances, execute them on the spot. Why did you wink? What? I don't know what you talk about. You wink. I had hummus in my eye. The fact still remains. I control the strait,
Thank you,
and I
Jericho.
have shown that Americans are not as powerful as they feel. Like, did you all know that their cover of going to get the pilot was actually them trying to get my fissurable material?
This is a big talking point coming out of Iran right now, and I'm going to just poke a few holes in it off the top of my head. There's some things.
Wait. Iran is claiming that the rescue mission for the pilot that got shot down was not a psyop, was basically a supposed distraction up to get their fissile material? Is that what they're claiming? That supposedly we weren't actually going to get the pilot, we were going... What the fuck? Are you kidding me? This is one I hadn't heard of. This one I had not heard of, that it was the down pilot was a false flag operation to go get the fissile material. What the... Are you gotta be fucking kidding me? Well, I'm not surprised Iran did that, because all Iran does is lie. Okay, let's leave us not forget. Literally, they don't know how to tell the truth. The Iranian government and the IRGC are literally incapable of being able to tell the truth. So, of course, they're going to spew that out. Because, of course.
Things that just don't add up for us to be able to do an operation like that. It's plausible, but unlikely.
Unlikely. When your planes didn't land anywhere near the mountaintop where you said you retrieved your pilot.
What part of C-130 Hercules do you think could land on top of a fucking mountain?
Physics isn't their strong point. Well, I suppose neither is math, art, logic, understanding, basic communication skills, and understanding that you probably shouldn't fuck goats.
Okay, so why did you send hundreds of troops just to get one guy?
For you to
that's how
understand
Americans
that,
roll,
we're going to
homie.
have to be able to explain that people are important, unlike you and Russia think.
What you talk about? Of course people are important. I'm just not going to waste a lot of money trying to get them back.
Also, and I'm not exactly sure where this is written, but it's taught to every soldier from like day one in the United States Army. We like to fight 3-1 because intelligence isn't very accurate most of the time. So, for example, if we knew that there was 50 fighters in the area, we're going to send 150. And so on and so forth. Just because when we get there, if they have 200 or 300, then we're a little bit better prepared. You know what I'm saying?
Likely cover story for you trying to get my fissurable material.
What I think is wild about this entire defense you're proposing here is it pretty clearly states that you have weapons grade uranium or plutonium in your possession right now, which meant you were already violating previous terms and refining at far greater refinement than you would need for power.
It ain't.
No.
Oh no, it hurt itself in its confusion.
Okay, next thing. How were you tracking him? The mountains of Iran are very thick. Your thermals would not be useful.
It's called GPS, homie. Pretty sure every one of these pilots is equipped with a GPS tracker, which the mountains don't give a fuck about. So I'm reasonably sure that's probably how they were able to track him so easily.
Oh. Yeah, that's classified. We just be building shit. We were tracking his heartbeat.
You were doing what?
Thanks, CIA, for just so excitedly saying that shit. Okay, I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. They talked about this thing. It's called Ghost Murmur, and basically the premise of it is that it can track human heartbeats from very high up in heavy urban areas so that you can locate individuals. It also works in mountainous areas.
Yes!
I tried reading up on it. I don't really understand the concept of it. There's very little information about it. There's also, I'm giving it 70-30. 70% chance this technology actually exists because we do be building shit.
True story.
But 30% chance that this is just a way to try and bamboozle America's adversaries. I don't know.
Man, all I can think of is how tough it must be in 2026 to be a flat earther. Everyone else's predictions have come true. All the other, conspiracy theorists, but yours is still just fucking stupid. Oh, that and all the people who thought that COVID shots were a way for us to track you. Come to find out it's your heartbeat. I mean, you could stop that, but, kind of gives you a slight case of death. But even a slight case is fatal. But I'm still upset. I wanted to go over there and then close my eyes and pretend that there's somebody that I hate even worse.
Closing your eyes when dropping explosives is an oddly American thing to do. That's the part that surprised you? I'm just curious of who he could be picturing that he hates worse than brown Middle Eastern people.
Oh, no, they were still going to be Middle Eastern. I was just going to make them browner.
Oh, for God's sake.
NATO, if you were not probably supportive of my operation in Iran, then there's a high chance that I'm going to remove all U.S. forces from your country. We're not protecting you anymore. The welfare state is over. NATO needs to start pulling its own weight.
So you throw a tantrum, invade a country, blast the shit out of them, and then all your allies that told you it was a terrible idea are now being punished with having to take care of their own defense when you've been subsidizing it for the better part of a century.
There he goes. Now, you can hear him at the end. He's starting to realize, fuck. I just literally explained the logic in my own attempt at a counter argument. Yeah, NATO's fucking done. NATO, I'd say, is... What I think it... Yeah, exactly. He's suddenly seeing the light. I have a feeling that what I think is going to happen is, in the very near future, I do think NATO in and of itself is going to basically cease to exist. And what I do think is going to happen is we are going to see new iterations of it. We're gonna start seeing, like, U.S. is not gonna be part of it. U.S. is saying, fuck off, we're not gonna do this at all. And you're gonna start seeing, like, chunks of nations in Europe and in Asia, maybe even in Africa, although I doubt it. But, maybe in South America, again, I doubt it, but primarily in Europe and maybe parts of Asia, that will start forming their own little sort of mini NATOs. You're going to see exactly. They're like, Europe is basically going to form its own quote unquote NATO, with Germany, with France, with Spain, with UK, maybe a couple of the other smaller ones like Norway or Lithuania or something like that. But they're gonna probably form their own like centralized NATO and just be them, and the US is gonna be like, yeah, we're not gonna be a part of that. Now, will Canada become part of it? Well, at this point, Canada is so fucking cucked that yes, I could see Canada saying, sure, we'll be a part of it, which they really, really, really fucking shouldn't. But I absolutely, because, Canada's government has become basically a failed organization. I could absolutely see them joining with whatever the new version of NATO in Europe is going to be.
I'm kind of torn here. God, someone needs to take away that man's access to social media. Look, I look at everything not in a vacuum, and I'm trying to understand this. While it would save the United States taxpayers insane amounts of money by not having our forces there, I will tell you it will also weaken our position globally. We won't be able to have troops in the right areas at the right time, but that could be something that isn't important to you. The follow-on is if these nations start taking over their own security and then we move all the troops back stateside, great, but then we wouldn't really be able to justify the size of our military. So then we would have to cut back on them as well, or else we just have massive amounts of the bases in the United States just stacked full of troops, not actually doing anything.
And this is bad timing, y'all. We just did a study that 1 in 4 people here in Germany, 25% roughly, want to leave. They say there's no jobs here. The climate is not what they were hoping it would be. They are naming several other countries they want to go to.
Oh, I'm sure it has nothing to do with the severely large amount of people you have brought in from the Middle East. They don't mix well with us.
That I was gonna ask. I don't think I ever heard the reason why Kitsu left. Is that what did Kitsu ever give a reason why she left Germany? Because I don't recall if I ever heard her give one. Yes, she did leave. She moved. That's why she was off stream for a week or two? It was recent. It was fairly recent, I believe. When she moved out of Germany. Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago. She was not streaming for 2 or 3 weeks, something like that, because she literally left Germany. Now, of course, I have no idea where she moved to. I'm guessing she probably did not disclose where she moved to either. I would not expect anybody to disclose, even if they did know where she moved to. But the one thing I do know is that she did leave Germany I wasn't sure of what her reason for it was, though. I don't know if she ever actually gave a reason for wanting to leave the country and go to another one. So it's likely moved because her address got doxxed. That's entirely possible. Although theoretically she could have just moved somewhere else in Germany, but she actually left the entire country. So
People you have brought in from the Middle East. You know they don't mix well with us.
We are still doing our deportations, yeah. But most of the children, the young people we talked to, said that they want to leave because they're getting uber conservative. I feel like we should be concerned that Germany's getting that conservative.
No, I'm far enough away this time.
I don't think it's necessarily wrong to be conservative. There is a limit, right? And if you want an unbiased look, I've studied World War II for quite a long time. I've studied both, theaters. I really pay attention to all this stuff. And if you really want to simplify what Nazi Germany, their fascist state was, it wasn't conservative. It wasn't liberal.
no, it was socialist.
It was the worst parts of the alt-right and alt-left put together. That's really what it is. That's why people on both sides of the political spectrum.
It was basically the worst case of the alt-right and alt-left, circling back around to socialism and thus communism, which turned into Nazism. So it was that's the whole thing with the Germany Nazi Party is it was those extremes. Once again, it's the horseshoe theory. When both sides go to extremes, they become one another, and that is effectively speaking what we saw with Germany, which again, we're seeing it now. Or the horseshoe theory, or I say communism, but it was more like quasi-socialism. I'll say it was quasi-socialism that basically rolled into authoritarianism and dictatorship. But it's again, it was the horseshoe theory of the two extremes meeting together in the middle and effectively becoming one another, so you can differentiate one from the other. As effectively speaking.
Spectrum say that Nazis are their opposition because they cherry pick a few things out of there, but it really is the worst part of both sides put together in one.
Huh. That's weird that the alt-right and the alt-left both hate Jews.
And what about you, America? There's going to be forced conscription in your country. Men 18 to 25 are being forced automatically to sign up for the selective service. My God, your military's far worse off than we thought. If you find me monologuing a lot in this episode, it's because in between actual big shit that happens, the news just tries to make everything sound awful so that they can get a lot of clicks. No, UK. Men 18 to 25, since probably the last 60 to 70 years, have had to sign up for the selective service. It's actually the law. You have to sign up. All they're doing is they're automating the process. That's it. Yeah. That's all that's changing. Nothing else changed. Now, to be honest, people don't really get prosecuted when they don't sign up for it. There really is no punishment. Aside from you can't vote, you can't get federal student loans, and there's a couple other things. But aside from that, nothing.
Oh, I remember back during Vietnam, we had a bunch of them young hippies on college campuses burning their draft cards. We had a really cool nickname for them, queers.
Speaking of colleges, that is why the West is so fucked up. You guys in your colleges prioritize this stupid free thinking, which is really just a backdoor undermining of the way things are in the country. That is why Russia will not tolerate it anymore.
Yeah, this is a wild story. What? So you have 7 or 8 universities, actually it might be up to 9 now, that you have labeled as, quote, undesirable, which is more or less the Russians' way of saying that if you are accepted to these universities and you go, it's a one-way ticket. You're not welcome back. Which is bold, considering the amount of troops you've lost in Ukraine.
I don't need people here in Russia that think they know better than our supreme leader, Vladimir Putin. He's our president, but more or less act like a supreme leader. Anyways.
Yeah. Bold choice to label Putin as, quote, supreme leader, considering the triggering effect that has on the U.S. these days when the words supreme leader are used in regards to a hostile nation. We've seen what happens with the U.S. when you label someone as a quote-unquote supreme leader nowadays.
They come back with all these stupid ideas. Why do we have to do this? Because I said so. You shut up your mouth.
Uncle Sam, hear me out. We adopt the same policy, but just use it to get rid of idiots.
And just how do you define someone who's an idiot?
Well, I guess that's kind of subjective in the moment. Middle-aged white lady who blocks a fucking aisle so she can talk to somebody in the supermarket? Idiot. Get her out of my country. Old person who drives under the speed limit? Idiot. Get him out of my fucking country. Now, when it comes to people like abuse animals or touch kids, they're not idiots. They are human waste and deserve to be hanged in the town square.
I like that one. I never thought me and him would agree on anything.
What can I say? Your mom's rubbing off on me.
Well, wait your turn, Buck, because I'm a little bit busy rubbing on Rush's mom extensively right now. You wait your turn. I've got things to do.
I'm back to hating you again. In America, why are you so surprised by this? The woke are a problem in your country as well. Like the fire you just had in California. The guy burned down the whole warehouse.
I don't know if HLC's going to be mentioning it, but the guy that burned down the warehouse, I think, was an immigrant. I thought I heard something about the guy that basically did the toilet paper warehouse, that he burned it to the foundation. I'm pretty sure he was an immigrant, and I'm not entirely sure if he was a legal or illegal immigrant. I'm not. Was he an acre baby? Okay, I wasn't 100% sure if it was a legal or illegal immigrant. I don't know if it was Arabic. He did have his name was definitely not American in nature. Is he gonna talk about? Okay, if HLC's gonna talk about, I'm good.
I hear you, and I see you, Russia. I want you to know that your feelings are valid. But the man was simply expressing how much he had a displeasure with, the fascist corporations that just don't pay people enough to live here.
Yeah. I don't think that's protest. Burning down a $50 million warehouse that 20 people were working inside of just because you disagree with how much you're being paid.
Ah, please don't be white. Please don't be white. Please don't be white. We need some fucking brownie points here.
No. His name is Kamel Abdul Karim.
There it is.
Jackpot! Oh, shit, I bet on the slow horse and still won anyways. Look, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Workplace violence, almost always white.
And yeah,
I don't think it was $22 an hour. I think it was $18 an hour. Like, because he videotaped himself doing this. And this guy was saying in the video when he was basically committing arson, because he videotaped himself committing arson and then posted it. He said in his video that he was getting paid $18 an hour, which, bearing in mind, I do sympathize with people in California that are only getting paid like $18 an hour. Like the minimum wage is like $16. He was getting paid $18. So even though he's being paid above the minimum wage, California is disgustingly expensive to live in. You know, you're not surviving on $18 an hour. And that, by the way, the minimum wage was just recently raised too. California is disgustingly expensive to live in. Absolutely disgustingly expensive. You have to you are not living, you are below the poverty line at $18 an hour. I think for you to be just above the poverty line, I'm pretty sure you have to be making at minimum $25 an hour to be just above the poverty line in California, comparatively speaking. And yeah, well, it's undoubtedly the fraud central. Absolutely. But it's a conglomerate thing. There's not a singular thing that you can point to and go, aha, there's your problem. There is just a conglomeration of problems, governmental problems, corporate problems, import problems, all sorts of stuff. So it's not just one simple thing you can point to, but legitimately, had he not burned down the fucking warehouse and put 150 people out of a job, I might have sympathized with the guy's plight where he's only earning $18 an hour, which is not enough to live in California, especially LA. I certainly could appreciate that, but he burned down a warehouse that basically put 150 people at a job. and he's he's an immigrant, so that's no points in his favor either.
He's been like charged with violence and like arson, which is what like the Gestapo, the police, really wanted to charge him with. But like, I think he just needs some therapy and like a hug, because like living in this fascist utopia that is the United States, I don't think that I want to contribute to yet another person of color living in the prison system.
I realize that's a joke, but legitimately, there is concern that that's exactly what they're going to do. That is a legit concern that when this guy goes to court, some fucking Connie judge is going to say, oh, no, he needs to go to therapy. We're going to drop all charges. We're going to deem him that he is not competent to stand trial, and he's going to get therapy. And he won't spend a day in jail. I legit think that that is a distinct possibility of what's going to happen.
God, that state is so fucked.
Listen, Uncle Sam,
Yep.
sometimes Callie gets things right. There is, a broken clock is right eventually. I don't know how that saying goes, but what I'm saying is I don't disagree with some of their ideology, man. Like, I don't care if you identify as a non-binary toaster oven and Apache attack helicopter, you should be able to love who you love, and people should be able to get married regardless of what gender they want to be.
That's very
Wait
progressive
for it.
of you, Grandpa Buff. I did not expect that.
Oh, yeah. Just as long as one of them is in black. Buff!
There it is.
Oh, the joke was right there. I had to go for it. It was always just too good. Anyways, kid, take it away.
What? I don't have anything to add. Why is everyone cutting over to me?
Well, because we've covered all the stories I have listed, so I figured we would end with you. Everyone always talks about in the comment section how we end on Grandpa Buff, and don't get me wrong, he had a great zinger just now. Would have been a great place to stop, but I figured why not give someone else a chance?
Oh shit. Okay. Let me see. He
Wasn't
always
prepared.
says something profound, then something based, and then he ends with a joke. Canards are gay. Raccoons are awesome. Foreskin.
Well done, kid. Well done. Bravo. Yeah, 10 out of 10 exit for the kid.